Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to Deus Ex. Well, looks like it's time to go to the ocean base. And now we're at the ocean base. Would have figured there'd be some transition, but I guess not.
Look out the window to the northeast. The building with the green beacon is the crew module. It should contain a lift that goes down to the manufacturing level. Careful, JC. The Ocean Lab's electrical systems are waterlogged and misfiring. Turrets and security systems won't behave like you expect, and the transgenics have probably sprung their cages.
Apparently. Alright, so Ridley, of all names they could have given. Ridley is a traitor, and I believe, I'm not sure that diary said so, but it becomes pretty clear pretty quickly that Ridley is a plant from the Illuminati. And before we actually go into the base, I figure we'll do something would probably kill us if this were, real. I mean, I don't know too much about liquid compression, but I believe that at the depth of the edge of the continental shelf is pretty deep to just be jumping into the water like it's nothing at all. Oh hey, a rebreather. Something tells me that's gonna come in handy. Also, this is the only way you can get here. And in fact, there is one other place which you can only get to by exiting through the door and swimming through the water here. It's a little crack over here. And, by the way, this is not enough of a video game that those air bubbles allow you to restock your breath. Just thought I'd be clear about that.
The entire southern wing appears to be flooded. You won't be able to access most of it.
Seems to be correct about that. It's also a good thing that we've got this rebreather, because there's really no other way of dealing with this area. Not unless you got at least one more point in swimming. That'd be a waste of good skill points. I mean, yeah, it would really come in handy about now, but not so much in later maps. I mean, this is not the last whole bunch of water we're going to encounter, but there's not going to be this much ever again. Yeah, probably be a good idea to actually use that clip mod. And for reference, you cannot skip the whole map by just swimming to the area that your goal is at. There's no way of getting in there, but there is a way to get in to skip a few areas immediately proceeding from the underwater base here. But that's no fun. I mean, we're here to experience things, aren't we? Nothing much on this floor, although it looks like there's something more interesting up top. Let's see what we've got here. Man, those little Karkians are real easy when you can just shoot them from above the water. And getting rid of them allows you to get access to that plasma rifle, as well as a scramble grenade. Nice high-value items, but neither of which are things that I really need. Well, let's see. So we should keep going up. Oh, that could be a problem. Luckily, there's the security terminal right there, and luckily you can still access it while backing out of the way so you don't have to get shot at. And we'll just make that not be a problem. I'm setting them all to bypassed here, by the way, because they can get a little funny, I believe, if they're just set to enemies. This is on top of the sub-bay door. That's the area I was exploring earlier. You can see that the door is sealed because it's, well, it's flooded. Functioning turret, and there's Ridley's last email. So let's proceed. Oh, that's a problem again. Luckily... Gotta get the angle right, damn it. Yeah, you can use this crate to just sort of push your way over here, because you do need to reach this guy to get the key, because that is the only way to open the door to the next area. Although, if you take the C route, you can bypass this entire thing. Also, that key I found in the flooded area, that is what allowed me to open up that door without having to use any lockpicks. It's very convenient. And that's not the only door, either. Oh yes, very convenient. And another rebreather. Not sure we're going to need one again, but it doesn't hurt to be safe. Yeah, infinite. So you have to do something about that turret. Luckily, being a master of rifles with a sniper rifle is a pretty simple way of dealing with that problem. Looks like there's nothing in here but empty greasel pits. Why would they even keep them in pits? Oh, hey there, buddy. You know what? Darts work too slow. With a sword, I can just nail them in one shot. This needs 2 tools, and that's the only way to get past that door. But maybe we can find the code. Uh-oh. Nailed your ass. Pretty sure there's a... Yeah, I heard it. There's another greasel around here somewhere. Just hope I can find it first. Oh. Oh, it wasn't that cage. Dang it. Well, I got him before he spit at me. That's the... good. And there's the access code that we need. 5690. Uh-oh. I think my flashlight got his attention. Oh. Nailed him just in time. Alright, well, there's a little bit of exploring we can still do in here. Like this room. See, if we had gone the C route, this is where we would have ended up. So it does skip at least one locked infinite door. But then you do have to deal with the greasels everywhere. Something that's optional if you have a few multi-tools and you're taking the normal route. Wow, 3 picks. But once again, that flooded area key is coming in handy. Guess this was some sort of medical procedure room here. Man, that one guy did a number on this place. I suppose when it's at the bottom of the ocean, you're really at the mercy of nature's forces.
Past the checkpoint is an excavation area where they were expanding the facility. Beyond that should be the crew module.
I guess this must be the checkpoint itself. And we got a security password. Too bad we've basically gotten through most of the security at this point. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to turn off the electric arcs here. You just really have to get lucky. And hope you can get past them without getting shocked. And this is underground. Underneath the ocean floor. Huh. I don't even know what I'm shooting at. But I'm glad they're dead. Ah, more baby Karkians. This appears to be some sort of digging tool here. I wonder how you get one of those down to the ocean floor. Oh, hey there, Greasels. You know what? You can actually electrify this rail here. Maybe I can nail that Greasel with the arcs. Oh. Or maybe I could nail myself. That was awkward. It's normally only supposed to get you if you're out. For crying out loud! It's normally only supposed to get you if you're actually standing on the tracks, but somehow I just got in the way of the damn electrical arcs, and it nailed me from a distance. Twice. I guess I should just be glad it was aiming low enough that it destroyed my legs instead of my torso. That would have been an awkward way to die. Oh, hey there, adult Karkian. Well now. That was most of my bullets in a clip, but got some good use out of it. Now what do you have? I don't even need recoil anymore. All the weapons that could recoil are maxed out. Aside from that key, there's nothing else to do back there. There's one other thing, though. Missing texture. It's kind of a weird place for it. Ah, lock strength 100%. I get the feeling that there's might be a trap in this corridor. It might be a different corridor I'm thinking of. And this is the crew module. Now let's see what all we've got in here. Looks like it's 2 people to a room. Much. Luckily, I'm full up on lamps, so might as well put them to good use. What the hell? Aw, crap. I wonder why that door stopped when the explosion hit. Weird. Yeah, it's too bad about these lockers. There's no key for them. But hey, this should work. What do we got here? Trank darts and normal darts, and both of them I'm full on. I'm killing everything with the sword, so I haven't had to use it. Alright, that's all we can do on this floor. So we'll just head downstairs. Looks like I turned this camera off earlier. And we've got yet another storage area. Ooh, thermoptic camo. And yeah, another storage area. Which we have yet again opened with the key from the flooded area. In case you're wondering, the reason that all of these lockers don't have doors is because of those lambs that exploded above them. So I was actually being really efficient. Here we go. Going down into the surface of the Earth. I wonder what they needed a UC down here for. Aha! That's the grenade I was thinking of. Very similar corridors. I hope you can understand my confusion there. I wonder if anybody's still alive.
You see the pieces coming together. You see AI and soon Helios will interface directly with my mind. I will be able to see anything, build anything, do anything. Just a little further, Delta.
So my alternative to dealing with these lasers is to take that ventilation shaft that goes up and over and actually puts you above these ventilation fans, which explode into tremendous metal chunks as soon as you hit them with anything. It's really fun. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again. Anyway, it is a decent amount of falling damage, and so you see these little red doors. Those would open, and I would have to deal with spider bots. If the lasers had been tripped, I mean. And in fact, it's not the only spider bot I have to deal with. There's this one giant-ass spider bot over here. Luckily, there's a nice way of dealing with that. And you're dead. So the two areas here with the two elevators, these are actually optional. The main elevator is just over on the right there. These two areas here are just cul-de-sacs. They get you some goodies, nothing else. The ventilation system doesn't actually come out in either of these locations either. You think they might have, but no, you have to take the fans or it's nothing. So you may have noticed, we've kind of got some radiation to deal with in this particular area. But that's about it. Just a few crates. It is nice that it warns you, though. It's got that big sign there that says radiation. Now, over on this side, we've got something else to deal with. Spider bots. EMP grenade. It's pretty useful. Biocells after that radiation area. Definitely use those. TNT crates. I guess, I don't know, you could use them against that giant-ass spider. Bit of a waste to use them here, though. At least when you've got as much sabo as I do. But, well, that's it. I mean, the map is physically pretty big, but there's actually not much to be found down here underneath the continental shelf. For some reason that elevator starts up. But there's something else we can do while we're here, waiting. You can actually see we're taking bioelectrical damage rather than real damage. It's still something you want to avoid. Well, actually, I seem to recall the MIB's got an augmentation canister. I should really grab that. I'll just leave that rebreather behind. I don't really need it. Let's see here. There's nothing I really need at this point, so I'm just going to upgrade targeting so I can, you know, show off what it can do once it's fully upgraded. Let's see, image not available. You can see its health, and if it had area damage, it doesn't because it's not humanoid. But if it was humanoid, you'd be able to see that all the various locations, the amounts of damage that they can take would have been on that targeting display. Now this area is actually a little tricky. See those little red areas in the back there? There are turrets in there. Now what was that code? I could have sworn that was it. Huh. For some reason, the code that we found up in the main lab area is not effective here. I mean, I don't know, maybe I could have used that Skywalker code, but maybe not. Because that is used for something later as well. I love this rifle. I really do. It's just gone. Nothing I have to deal with, not anymore. And once again, we've got actually some crates which you can use to block their shots, but this is a hell of a lot easier. Just to take out the turrets and waltz through. Bob Page says destroy everything.
Schematic should be stored on the computer in this room.
Now, this really must be one hell of a connection to get that good a reception underneath several, like a mile or so of ocean. And then all of this rock.
I'm leaving a copy of the schematic in your data vault. It's exactly what we need. I'll catch a ride with Jock and meet you on top of the subbase's command module, just on shore.
Guess we should have a look at that. Maybe later. And now seems good. Not that I could really tell you what the hell I'm looking at, though. You know what? I just remembered something. gonna have to pick up that rebreather again. It's not because I'm actually going to need to use the rebreather, but, well, you'll understand. Let's just say that it's better to have my inventory full at this point.
Step over to the communicator. I have something to say.
It's nice that it tells you to do it.
In case you were wondering, Helios intercepted your transmission. We accessed the Ocean Lab computers ourselves, which means our UCs will be operational shortly.
Meanwhile, we will be manufacturing a cure to the virus.
A cure? A cure? Do you have any idea how easy it will be for me to make a new virus? All I have to do is find a very large prime number and multiply.
And all we have to do is crack the code.
Mathematically unlikely, as are your chances of leaving the Ocean Lab, by the way.
Your next page. Your greatest strength was secrecy, but now we know everything, including your present location.
Always the optimist. You would need an army to attack me at Area 51, and pretty soon, if the missile is accurate, your X-51 will be a thin, gray smudge where Vandenberg used to be.
You know, if I had picked up a grass grenade, I probably could have spooked Paige there. But you know, he is right, actually. To decrypt something requires basically a computer in order more powerful than the computer which encrypted a message. It's kind of interesting how it works, because you only need the one key in order to encrypt something, but in order to have all the keys...
We've picked up a submarine approaching the URV bay. It could be an ambush. Hurry!
You ended up working for us anyway. How ironic.
In order to break encryption, you need to test every possible key, which is a much more difficult task.
All in all, you weren't a bad experiment. You'll be the last prototype we have to discard.
Something tells me I should save here. I don't know, I just get this feeling like someone's waiting for me. Hey Simons, do you know what my feeling's all about? Because I don't really get it. Oh fine, I'll go talk to you first.
If you recall our chat in the break room at UNATCO, you know that I have the same augmentation technology as you.
Then this will be a good fight.
With the exception that I have a newer version of the firmware. I look forward to this.
I would have figured that his plasma rifle would have done better than that. Thanks for the lamb, buddy. But in case you were wondering, I didn't feel like having a climactic showdown just yet. That's why I left him back there. You know, screw him. Someone else around here? Oh. Hey there, buddy. Thanks for the lamb. Huh, that must have been the submarine they came in on. How did they all pack into that tiny little thing? For some reason I can't use it. Guess I'll have to go back in the one I used. How dull. Hey there, buddy.
Go away! They will get you. You can't get away. Don't get me in trouble.
Well, now. Looks like the sub he was working on is gone, so I guess that explains how they got down there. I wonder if any of the scientists have anything new to say.
I'm unarmed.
Well, he's generic, I suppose that makes sense. How about you, though?
Dr. Savage is waiting for you on the roof of the command module on shore. There have been some developments out in the desert. You'd better check in.
I'd say they're developments. Someone's launching a damn missile at Vandenberg. You know, I pulled out my shotgun expecting that there would be somebody alive in this part of the base. But apparently I was wrong, because it doesn't look like there's anybody up here. Just a couple of divers who were down in the ocean lab. You know, before I hit the roof, there was the one other guy who isn't generic.
Savage is waiting on the roof of the command module on shore. I understand your mission was a success. I'll stay behind. I can do more for Savage here. I'll stay behind. I can do more for Savage here.
Well, I don't have too much more to say, but it is still interesting. Now we get to go to the roof. And now there's actually going to be something up here.
You made it! How long until the UC is up?
Tonight, if the schematics are accurate. But we have another problem.
Page said he was launching a missile at Vandenberg.
Exactly. His troops occupied a silo to the north of here.
Has he made any demands?
The launch sequence has started. No demands. They want to wipe us out.
I'll have Jock get me there as quick as he can.
Good. Hey, thanks again for saving my daughter. I brought you something from the lab. A token of my appreciation.
Not necessary. I'm just glad she's all right.
Take it. You might want to upgrade your systems. Sooner or later, you'll have to face Bob Page.
Hold on. No room.
500 skill points. Now, it's definitely good that we saved his daughter. Especially because...
I got it right here. It's an augmentation upgrade canister.
Hold on. No room.
I just got another 500 skill points. Here, let me make sure about this. 605 now.
I got it right here.
Now, 6505. Oh boy.
I got...
10,505. That's enough. I don't want to completely break this thing. But it'll get my lockpicking up. Boost low-tech, maybe. Demolitions. And... yeah, computer. Still going to be hacking a lot of stuff. That'll cut down on some time.
I got it right here.
Whoops. Oh well. What's 500 more?
I got it right here.
Well, 1,000 more. Now let's use that upgrade canister and max out targeting. So here's what all it can do once it's complete. You get locational damage, you get a zoomed in view of your target, get the range, get the name, and if you're close enough, you even get a headshot. Okay, that's a little weird.
We'll take care of Tom. Don't worry. We should begin manufacturing the vaccine within the hour. Hurry. We don't have much time. Go! Go!
Let's go.
So, needless to say, if Tiffany dies, he does not feel grateful enough to give you an augmentation upgrade canister, and thus you cannot get the infinite skill boost bug. Now, since we traveled to the bottom of the ocean, I figured this would be a pretty good time to mosey on over to Conspiracy Corner and chat about Atlantis. True, we're in the wrong ocean, but hey, who's to say that Atlantis really is in the Atlantic? The facts. There's not much in the way of facts regarding Atlantis. It turns out Plato wasn't the first author to use the word, but that's because Atlantis means of Atlas, and that first author was simply creating a genealogy that supposedly descended from the Titan himself. Plato's Atlantis is a fable, something he created by borrowing from myth, history, and current events. In two connected dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, Plato describes a powerful island nation which sits beyond the Pillars of Heracles, the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea. The Atlanteans are the children of Poseidon through his demigod son, who happens to be named Atlas, hence the island's name. At first, Atlantis is a great and prosperous nation, living up to the ideals Plato provides in the Republic. The main city is built in 3 concentric rings, and the walls of the inner citadel are clad in brilliant red orichalcum. But as their divine blood runs thin, the Atlanteans fall to human vices, and 9,000 years before Plato's account, they conquer the Mediterranean Sea. However, even as its allies fall one by one, a single city is able to resist Atlantis, Athens, which was going through its own Platonic golden age at the time. Without any outside assistance, Athens is able to stop Atlantis' expansion and gradually destroy its empire. In the end, Atlantis itself is destroyed when volcanic activity and rising sea levels cause their island to fall into the ocean. The conspiracy. Much like the Templars and the Freemasons, I could go on for hours if I tried to list all the various conspiracies and theories that involve Atlantis. So instead, I figured I'd go down to my local library and find a nice, freshly squeezed pile of bullshit to act as a representative. So today I'm going to take a look at a book called Before Atlantis, 20 Million Years of Human and Pre-Human Cultures, written by Frank Joseph, and copyright 2013. So here's how the book begins. Apparently, humans are descended not from regular apes, but from aquatic apes. And there is something to that. As I've mentioned before, humans gained some proficiency with water during the African crucible when food on land was scarce. But Joseph contends that for extended periods, our ancestors spent more time in the water than out of it, and they did so for vast periods of time rather than just through the last glacial maximum. After all, we are the only apes with thin hair who sweat, the only apes who walk upright, who have poor noses, who cry, who can flare our nostrils, and the only apes who can hold our breath voluntarily. Of course, this ignores the fact that other aquatic mammals still have a lot of fur, and the actual reason why we use sweat instead of fur is because we are diurnal endurance hunters. We wait until the middle of the day when all sane animals are resting from the heat, and we chase our prey for hours potentially until it becomes absolutely exhausted and we can kill it easily. That's why we needed to trade fur insulation for something more effective like sweat, although we do have to drink a lot more water to make up for that. Incidentally, it's also why we are the best long-distance runners on the planet. Not many animals can run a marathon in just a couple of hours, and none but humans are stupid enough to do so for fun. We walk upright for the same reason, to keep our center of gravity over our legs where it's easiest to carry, and our noses have atrophied because a sense of smell isn't too useful when our heads are always kept high up off the ground. As for why we cry and flare our nostrils, it's for the same reason that we laugh and scream, smile and frown. These are social cues, and we are by far the most social of apes. Lastly, the reason we can hold our breath is actually a bit of both reasons. Because we stand upright, our larynx has descended, and our throats can close on command. This has given us greater control over our breath and our ability to vocalize. And as I'm sure you're aware, you must always speak clearly if you wish to be understood. The rest of the book uses a few specific techniques over and over in order to offer proof and build a narrative, so let me handle the rest of this by category. First, the narrative itself. Apparently, modern humans did not appear in the last 40,000 years as the establishment archaeologists would have you believe, or if they did, then other hominids of similar intelligence evolved as early as 20 million years ago, and managed to populate the entire world, the Americas included. These proto-humans went through long waves of growth and collapse, mainly determined by climate change and the growth and disappearance of glaciers. The current cycle of modern humans has also had several ups and downs. Around 360,000 years ago, which would be 140,000 years after the archaic Homo sapiens developed, the Atlanthropus hominid travels along some sort of peninsula in northwest Africa to a large island in the middle of the Atlantic because apparently the mid-Atlantic ridge was exposed to the air despite it being 2.5 kilometers below the surface. 75,000 years ago, Mount Toba erupts, killing most of everybody. This is actually an alternate theory to the African crucible to explain why modern humans are all so closely related. But unfortunately for that theory, it seems like a lot of cultures across the world went on uninterrupted, both before and after the eruption. However, some humans survive on the lost continent of Lemuria, alternately called Mu. And for the record, Lemuria was an attempt to explain how lemurs wound up in both Madagascar and India, and Mu is a lost continent in either the Atlantic or the Pacific that was invented by a 19th century amateur archaeologist. Anyway, in this narrative, Mu is the first ever city built around 7500 BCE on Lemuria. However, 1300 years later, the 8.2 kiloyear event happens. Basically, the event occurred when the Laurentide ice sheet around Hudson Bay melted and two massive glacial lakes flowed into the ocean all at once, causing both a temporary cold spike in the global temperature and a sudden increase in the sea level, somewhere between 1/2 to 4 meters, depending on the location. This causes Mu to sink beneath the ocean, although Lemuria itself wouldn't sink completely for another 4,600 years. And in the meantime, the Lemurians crossed the entire world, planting evidence of their megalithic culture on every continent. Because, after all, only one culture could have ever come up with the idea of building giant stone monuments. They even migrate to Atlantis and help the poor natives reinvent ships and become the dominant Bronze Age culture of the Mediterranean for 2,600 years, a fact which no one would ever write down until Plato does so 838 years after the island sinks. So, first issue, taking ancient legends at face value. Authoritative sources in this book include both Plato's Critias and the Book of Genesis, along with the fact that myths from around the world about floods and dead civilizations all kinda sound the same after a while. Now, these myths aren't taken literally, of course, but Joseph seems to assume that every legend is based foremost in fact, rather than in allegory, and that stories have not significantly changed over the course of hundreds or even thousands of years of oral tradition. For instance, Plato mentions that the Atlanteans didn't understand fishing or shipbuilding until Poseidon himself visits them. Joseph interprets this to mean that the original inhabitants somehow traveled over a peninsula that doesn't exist, which crossed the Atlantic abyssal plain to a large island which doesn't exist, situated above the mid-Atlantic ridge. And once the peninsula sank, it took a visit by the mysterious megalithic culture to teach the locals how to build a damn ship. And there is an island chain out there right where he wants it to be, the Azores, created by a volcanic hotspot and set right above the ridge. But they don't fit the narrative, so all he says about them is that they too were visited by the megaliths. Second issue is Joseph's sources. While I do believe that legends are often based around a seed of fact, humans are liars, and we will make up whatever we need to make a story sound better. And that goes for some contemporary legends too, like the one about the lost continent of Mu. Other sources were good, honest ideas when they were proposed, but have since been disproven, like the Lemuria theory, which is now explained by how India and Madagascar were a single landmass before India broke off and moved northeast thanks to plate tectonics. The last kind of source Joseph uses is unexplained artifact finds, and to be fair, there are plenty of those around the world. For instance, there are numerous sites throughout the Americas which seem to contradict the theory that the Clovis people were the first to cross the Bering Land Bridge into North America around 10 to 15,000 years ago. The problem is that these sites are anomalous and unique. Every site supports a different time frame, whereas the Clovis theory has been supported by numerous finds over the years. Sites like Topper in South Carolina are fascinating and should be followed up on, but so long as they remain unique, then the explanation is more likely to be human error in dating than to be real proof of human habitation. The last issue is the narrative itself. Frank Joseph is not simply challenging the establishment. He is trying to build his own mythology. He constantly describes the nameless mass of archaeologists as mainstream, establishment, textbook, and if any of his sources suffer some issues during their lives, then whether or not it's actually true, he blames the system for being unable to handle the truth. Then at the end of the book, Joseph contends that his global megalithic culture was utopian in nature, suffering from neither disease nor warfare and living in perfect harmony with the world and the environment. They sang with all the voices of the mountain and painted with all the colors of the wind. And shouldn't we all just be like them? And for the record, this ignores the fact that one method of tracking human progress is by observing the extinction of large mammals. For instance, horses used to be a New World animal, but then the Clovis people and their descendants killed and ate them all. Personal thoughts. Do you want to know what real magic is? It is the belief that like affects like. The belief that human thoughts are significant, that our symbols have power, and that our actions can impact the world. Given that definition, it's pretty clear that science is a descendant of magic. The intention of both is to understand and affect our environment. There's really only 3 scientific principles separating the two. First, the symbol of a thing should not be confused with the thing itself. Second, unproductive actions should always be eliminated. And third, a result must be reproduced before it can be trusted. It's no wonder then that there's significant overlap between science and magic. Chemistry is little more than alchemy, with all the theories and guesswork stripped out. And astronomy is astrology, without the symbolism. Aristotle is considered the first scientist, but he believed that fire was a physical element, and he wrote on the topic of metaphysics. Rosicrucianism was based on Hermetic magic, but led to the Royal Society, a scientific organization. Sir Isaac Newton developed calculus and terrestrial physics, but he was also a religious philosopher and an alchemist on the lookout for the Philosopher's Stone. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had to know quite a few things about science in order to write Sherlock Holmes, but he was also a firm believer in spiritualism and seances. These days, the overlap flows in the other direction as well. Magicians use cutting-edge material science and engineering in order to fool their audiences. Spiritual mediums learn psychology and human behavior in order to make accurate cold readings. Astrologers incorporate new planets and stars in their schemes as astronomers discover them. Homeopathic medicine uses the same chemicals and plants as real medication. And there is a reason why magical thinking is still around. There's a reason why we still have superstitions and pseudoscience and fad diets. It's because symbols are real. A symbol is not a thing itself, but the symbol is how we understand it. It's how we understand what anything is, including ourselves. So we may not affect the thing itself when we affect the symbol, but we do affect ourselves and our perception of that symbol, and then we can go on to affect reality. A placebo is the symbol of a pill, but it can still help because our belief in that symbol can mute our perception of pain. ultimately, this is why books like Beyond Atlantis exist. Stories and narratives do not exist in real life. They are symbols which help us understand people, events, the passage of time. For whatever reason, Frank Joseph is dissatisfied with the narrative constructed by the current scientific consensus, and so he has cobbled together his own out of fringe cases, unsubstantiated theories, and utopian myths. Perhaps he's wrong, but so were Aristotle and Isaac Newton. The scientific consensus is wrong. Less wrong, but we still don't know everything. We may never know everything, and in the meantime, we still need our stories and our symbols to understand what we can about this world. And if we don't think we've found the right ones, then of course we're going to search for the symbols we can accept. It doesn't matter how real they are, because we don't live in reality. We live in our heads. And in our heads, symbols are reality. Thanks for joining me again in Conspiracy Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.